How to criticize others and argue with them, yet remain liked and respected. I'm Dr. Nabil Fanous, a Canadian surgeon, a university teacher, and the author of this book, The Universal Rules of Life: 27 Secrets for Managing Time, Stress, and People. Today, I'll be talking to you about Universal Rule 3. Start every criticism with a compliment and every argument with an agreement. How to criticize and argue, yet remain liked and respected. Let me start with the art of criticizing. A scar is forever. It's never forgotten. It never disappears. And like a scar, a criticism is forever. So temper your criticism with a genuine compliment. Start every criticism with a compliment. So, if you want to remain a liked and respected spouse, parent, friend, colleague, or boss, be generous with your compliments and brief with your criticisms. Now I have a little story for you titled Penelopes' Penalty. Let's say you are a small business owner. Your assistant Penelope has for years done an excellent job, but lately she forgot to send your tax records on schedule, which has resulted in a penalty for you. Your first impulse is to criticize her severely for her negligence, but that would be a big mistake. All the goodwill would become irreparably damaged. A better strategy is to tell her, Penelope, you're doing an incredible job. I really appreciate it, but lately my tax records were not sent in on time, and I am now faced with a penalty. By starting with a positive comment and following it with a negative one, you convey the problem loud and clear. It's a smart, balanced approach. Now I have another story for you, titled The Diamond in the Rough. In Disney's charming movie Aladdin, the diabolical vizier Jafar, with his sneaky parrot Iago, seek a magic lamp hidden in the Cave of Wonders. But the all-powerful Jafar doesn't have what it takes. Only one person does. He's the modest-looking Aladdin, who possesses the necessary talent for procuring the precious lamp. He has a diamond in the rough, a talent hidden by a humble outward aspect. In fact, every one of us has a unique diamond in the rough. So don't be distracted by the obvious flaws of people and miss the jewel inside, because in every rough there is a diamond. So look for the diamond in the rough, dig deep for the positive qualities in people and compliment them before you pounce on their shortcomings and criticize them. Now I'll come to another true story titled The Universal Rules of Surgery. In some medical schools, the primary focus of education is to tell surgical students what they do wrong and how to correct it. In other words, it's an approach based on correcting mistakes. But since I started teaching at McGill University, I decided that my dealings with residents should comprise both positive and negative feedbacks. One of the courses I give is called The Universal Rules of Surgery. During the course, I demonstrate certain surgical techniques. Then I ask the residents to repeat each procedure at their respective stations. And while they're doing so, I make my way from one station to the next to check how everyone is doing. For example, I might offer the following constructive criticism. Good job, Dr. K. Your hands are very stable. That's great. I also suggest that when you hold the blade to make an incision, you use 3 fingers instead of 2. So, my system is to find the students' diamonds in the rough and reinforce them before looking for their weak points and correcting them. Now I come to the art of arguing. When we argue, our tempers flare. It's like lighting a spark and watching a fire spread. That's why it isn't smart to start an argument by arguing. Start every argument with an agreement. Start by agreeing on something. This way, you let your opponent score first, so that you can score second. However, if you can't agree on anything, just say, "I understand what you mean." By doing so, you are confirming that you have heard what the other person is trying to convey, without necessarily agreeing. Now we come to a true story titled Two Girls in the Morning. A few years ago, Denise, a famous TV talk show host in Canada, came to see me regarding a facelift. She said she had already met with 3 other plastic surgeons. She also told me that her facelift experience would be broadcast on her very popular Canadian television show, Deux filles le matin, or Two Girls in the Morning. I suggested she undergo a facelift and a forehead lift to raise her brows a little. Denise's reaction was swift. None of the other 3 plastic surgeons said anything about my forehead. They only suggested a simple eyelid lift. I knew that arguing about the merits of my approach would be unproductive. So, I began my reply with an agreement, a genuine one. Denise, I fully agree with the other 3 surgeons that having an eyelid lift will make you look younger. However, your brows are low, which gives you a tired and sad look. I then proceeded to move her brows up a few millimeters with my hands in order to give her a preview of her result after the forehead lift. 2 days later, Denise booked her surgery. And a few months later, Denise was on TV for a full hour, describing her happy experience and occasionally mentioning my name. The episode proved to be one of the most popular in the history of the show. Over the following few months, our phones didn't stop ringing. And all because, before I argued, I agreed. Now let me summarize Universal Rule 3 in a pearl shell. Start every criticism with a compliment and every argument with an agreement. How to criticize and argue, yet remain liked and respected. About criticism. A criticism is forever. We are fast to criticize and slow to praise. Start every criticism with a compliment. Be generous with your compliments, brief with your criticisms. In every rough, there is a diamond. Look for the diamond in the rough. Now about arguing. It isn't smart to start an argument by arguing. Start every argument with an agreement. Let your opponent score first so that you can score second. And if you can't agree on anything, just say, "I understand what you mean." That's it for Universal Rule number 3. If you liked it, please subscribe, share it, and put a like. And I'll be seeing you soon with a very interesting question. How you can create a commanding presence before you even utter a word. You want the answer? Check the bell and I'll see you soon.